its casing opened. The springs snapped, and the nose cone was pushed out of the way. A ball with 4 antennae emerged to go it alone in the darkness of space. And a radio began to send a signal back to Earth. Humanity had entered the space age.
Sputnik, the first satellite into space. Or was it? Let's get into it. For well over 100 years, people from around the world have noticed an object orbiting the Earth. And not only did they see it, photograph it, it also is sending out signals. And some claim that they have decoded the signals. They state, or their claim, is that that object has been orbiting the Earth for 13,000 years. Now, what got my attention was Nikola Tesla. Oh yes, that brilliant mind. And this is what he noticed. Nikola Tesla is famously attributed with the quote, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." Tesla built a high-voltage laboratory in Colorado Springs to explore wireless energy transmission and the Earth's atmospheric conductivity. On one fateful evening in 1899, he stood amidst the hum of his laboratory, the air crackling with electric currents. He observed a signal unlike any other, a rhythmic, deliberate pattern emanating from the heavens. His pulse quickened as he realized it might be an intentional message, perhaps from another world. In that moment, Tesla gazed beyond the confines of Earth, convinced he had touched the edge of the cosmos with the greatest mystery. Tesla's tower was receiving signals at a regular interval, and at first he thought that there was this signal coming from the atmosphere, but it was actually coming from someplace much higher, outer space. He hypothesized that this was a message coming from beings from a long way away, like across the galaxy, and in fact stated, quote, "I believe numbers are being used for communication because numbers are universal." And Tesla wasn't alone. In the early 1920s, and in the quiet of his lab, Marconi, the pioneer of wireless communication, detected a peculiar signal, unlike anything he'd ever heard before. Structured, mysterious, and seemingly not of this earth. Yet it was Jorgan Hals, a Norwegian radio engineer, in 1928 who made a groundbreaking discovery while experimenting with radio transmissions. He observed peculiar echoes that were being sent from Earth were inexplicably delayed before returning. Known as the long-delayed echoes, this phenomenon sparked intrigue, and with some speculation, a cosmic origin was suggested as the signals might be bouncing off of celestial objects, or even linked to extraterrestrial communication. The radio waves were behaving in such a way it took years for scientists to explore them, and even to this day they can't really explain it. Well, until 1954, when a newspaper decided they were going to venture an explanation. But it got the attention of the Pentagon. Just 3 years before the launch of Sputnik in May 1954, Major Donald Keyhoe, a former U.S. Marine Corps officer and prominent UFO researcher, claimed the U.S. Air Force had detected 2 artificial satellites orbiting Earth, an assertion that garnered significant media attention. Newspapers included the San Francisco Examiner and the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. These reports contributed to the public fascination with the possibility of extraterrestrial surveillance and the broader UFO phenomena. And it goes without saying that the Pentagon certainly wasn't pleased with Colonel Keyhoe. So, in essence, we began to get some confirmation that there indeed was a couple of satellites orbiting 400 and 600 miles above the Earth. And these objects were emitting signals in intervals, just as Nikola Tesla had discovered years before. This signal was so unique that even at the Pentagon level, it's hard to keep things a secret. And then this happened. In 1960, U.S. Navy radar picked up something unexpected, an unidentified object quietly gliding in the polar orbit around Earth. The twist? No known satellites had ever been launched into such an orbit. Enter the legend of the Black Knight satellite. Up until now, the only people keeping an eye on this thing in the sky were astronomers and maybe even a few radio operators. So the only way to get some answers to this was to send an eyewitness to space. That eyewitness was none other than Roger Ramjet himself, Gordon Cooper. All astronauts can claim they stand on the shoulders of Gordon Cooper, who piloted the Mercury Atlas and orbited Earth 22 times with over 34 hours, and in fact fell asleep during liftoff at one point. Another time, when he was re-entering, he lost all control, had to switch to manual, and splashed down just 4 miles ahead of the recovery ship. That is some nerves of steel. When your ship is plummeting toward Earth and all your systems go out to land you safely, and you just calmly switch everything over to manual and land safely within just a few miles of your recovery ship? I think we need to listen to this guy. During one of his flights, Gordon reported seeing a green glowing object just ahead of him, and the ground crew confirmed it. It turns out that 1963 was not Gordon Cooper's first rodeo with UFOs. Oh no, it started well before and after.
Faster, higher. As they were sitting there filming, a little saucer came from, I say little saucer, it was a saucer, came flying over their heads, put down 3 little landing gear and landed right out on the dry lake bed. And they picked up their cameras and started over toward it, filming as they went. And when they got in fairly close to it, it lifted up, put the gear back in the wheel wells, tipped up, and took off at a great rate of speed.
Over the decades, there have been a number of credible people who have bore witness to this thing orbiting the Earth. The question is, what is it? How long has it been there? And truly, can it be argued that it's just space junk? When it appeared prior to us even lifting off the Earth? Well, enter Ducan Lunan. Building on prior knowledge of the Norwegian scientists, Lunan analyzed long-delayed radio echoes in the 1970s and hypothesized they might be signals from an ancient extraterrestrial probe orbiting Earth. By plotting the time delays, he noticed a pattern resembling a star map, pointing to Epsilon Boötes, suggesting the probe could have originated from this star system. In 1976, he began to reassess his map and, in fact, retracted his theory. He examined it again and noticed that the star Arcturus was slightly out of place from where it actually should be. And then a new theory arrived. It is a map, and Arcturus is where it needed to be 11,000 years ago. Noting this mysterious signal pulse through space, its patterns hinting at intelligence, an enigma waiting to be unraveled, Lunan took the challenge, asking the question, how do we decode this cosmic riddle? He began by analyzing the signal's patterns, its frequency, rhythm, and repetition, searching for structure that could reveal its meaning. Using this expertise, He identified universal markers like prime numbers and matched the patterns to potential codes. Through this meticulous process, he translated the raw data into text, uncovering a message that might connect us to the intelligence beyond our world. And this is what he picked up. Our home is Epsilon Boötis, a double star. We live on the sixth planet of 7 coming from the Sun, the larger of the two. Our sixth planet has 1 moon. Our fourth planet has 3. Our first and third planet each have 1. Our probe is in the position of Arcturus, known in our maps. Well, nothing much happened between the 70s and the 90s. All it was a bunch of conspiracy theorists and wild imaginations of authors coming up with theories to sell articles and books. Until Endeavour.
9, 8. We have a go for main engine start. We have main engine start. 4, 3, 2, 1. We have booster ignition and liftoff of the Space Shuttle Endeavour with the first American element of the International Space Station, uniting our efforts in space to achieve our common goals.
Was the common goal to get a bird's eye view of what is known as a Black Knight satellite? Well, Endeavour did just that. It took this photo in December 1998. Even with Endeavour's clear photographs, it is difficult to ascertain what that relic is orbiting Earth. Now, NASA has publicly stated it's nothing more than space junk floating around. However, how did it get there prior to man leaving the Earth? We're going to remote view this at the end, so please stay with me until then. Now, another interesting note, this is actually described by ancient people. In ancient hieroglyphs, they talk about a dark arc floating above the earth. Where did they get that? Some theorize this shrouded mystery has been a cosmic time capsule, a vessel placed there deliberately, safe from the hands of ancient civilizations and the ravages of planetary catastrophes, enigmatic and untouchable. Could it hold the blueprint of life itself, encoded with DNA and secrets of lost knowledge meant to guide humanity? Well, it is inaccessible until our technology and perhaps even our collective wisdom evolve enough to unlock its secrets. This all sounds pretty far-fetched, doesn't it? Well, not so fast. There is a scientist out there who's looking at the ancient Sumerians as the culprits who might have actually manipulated our DNA. And does that mean they're tied to the Black Knight satellite? Let's take a look. The ancient Sumerians are one of humanity's earliest civilizations, and they left behind fascinating myths suggesting that their gods, the Anunnaki, descended from the heavens to shape the world and create humanity. And according to their text, these celestial beings arrived from the sky, bringing knowledge and order to a chaotic earth. They crafted humans, not as equals, but as workers to serve their divine will, tending fields, building cities, and sustaining the gods' needs. These intriguing stories were written in the first known language and have inspired theories ranging from divine intervention to ancient astronauts. Gregg Braden, scientist and author, explores the Sumerians through the works like the Sumerian Kings List and the mythology of the Anunnaki, questioning long lifespans and suggesting deeper meanings about human origins. He speculates the Anunnaki's role in shaping human development, blending ancient narratives with spiritual insights. Braden further hypothesizes that human DNA strand was abruptly altered around 250,000 years ago, pointing to this as evidence of higher beings intervening with manipulate human evolution, aligning with the idea of advanced entities influencing our early history. He wrote a book, Deep Truth, The link for this purchase, if you would like, is in the description box below. So far, we've been told by NASA it's space junk. We've had an author tell us that he's interpreted the signals as a message from a star-off star system. But my question is this: when STS-88 was up there and this object is small enough to fit in the bay, why didn't they grab it? And why is it that a ham operator captured this message and it wasn't on open mic?
Houston, this is Discovery. We still have the alien spacecraft under reporting.
That audio file today doesn't surprise us as much as it would have 5 years ago. But here's the thing. What we do know is that our astronauts are observing alien craft. What we also know is that NASA is keeping tight-lipped about it. So my question is, do they know more about the Black Knight satellite than what they're letting on? I mean, after all, this object is small enough that it could actually fit into the payload of one of the shuttles. So why didn't they bring it back? Put it in tow? Figure out a little bit more. My guess is they do know. And it is interesting to me that NASA has focused one of their observatories on Boötis. You see, there seems to be a bit of a connection. Let's see if we can tie it all together. The enigmatic Black Knight satellite has captured imaginations for centuries. First noticed in the ancient times as an object floating above Earth. Long before humanity launched its first satellite, astronomers observed it, and early 20th century scientists detect strange, unexplained signals. This mystery deepened when astronaut Gordon Cooper and NASA confirmed a glowing green object during a space mission. Researcher Ducan Lunan later claimed to decode the signals, suggested they were a message from a probe sent by an advanced civilization near Epsilon Boötis. This narrative intriguingly ties to ancient Sumerian texts, which describe gods descending from the sky to create a hybrid human workforce. Gregg Braden furthers this connection, proposing that the Anunnaki, the Sumerian deities, were responsible for abruptly altering human DNA around 250,000 years ago, possibly to engineer a new human species. Together, these accounts weave a compelling story of extraterrestrial intervention in human history and evolution. So, where do I fall on all this? Well, through my associated remote viewing. My information came in slightly different, and what I got was really interesting. However, I'm not sure that anything that we presented here in this video actually ties the Black Knight satellite to the ancient Sumerians, or for any other ancient civilization, as far as I can tell. What I did get is that it is indeed a probe. It is indeed sending out signals, but not to us. It's sending it back to its place of origin, which I did not get was Epsilon Boötis. And in fact, when I tuned in to Ducan Lunan, I couldn't get anything that was even close to accurate, other than it has a different origin. And I got around the area of Arcturus. So I think that's about the only place I sort of align with him, and even he's not really aligned with that. But it is interesting. Now, I do get, just like we send out probes now to like Mars, we send it out in advance to see what's out there before we actually send people. And I do feel that this came from a civilization more advanced than what we are right now, but not advanced to the level of what they are calling the Anunnaki. I do feel that the Anunnaki were here, but I feel like they're not together. They are definitely not together. So what I am picking up is that the Anunnaki were actually here first. And I do feel that they altered the DNA. Well, shoot me if I'm wrong. But that's what I get. So I would have to lean with Gregg Braden on the altercation of the DNA 250,000 years ago. But this probe, I get, has only been with us for around 5,000 years, maybe slightly less. So I do feel that the ancient people were witnessing something in the sky, but they couldn't really see it, they're looking with their naked eye. They notice there's something, but they can't really tell what it is. So I do feel that there is some credibility to that aspect of the story. But as far as anything else, I can't really get it. Yes, it's a mystery, but wouldn't it be nice if NASA would just figure out how to send another shuttle up and grab that thing and bring it down so we could all study it? Maybe one day it'll happen. But what it does do is give our imaginations a place to play and think about and ponder the mysteries of life itself. I love looking at the Black Knight satellite, and I do feel it's alien in nature, and I do feel it is a probe and sending information back to its home planet. And I do feel that that home planet is more advanced than us, but not so advanced they're crossing the galaxy yet. But that was 4,000 or 5,000 years ago. Maybe that's all changed. So we're left to your own imagination. And what you can do is start tuning in to yourself. And you'll know on a visceral level when you close your eyes and ask the question, what is the Black Knight satellite? You are going to know the answer because it's going to come in the first 7 to 8 seconds. And that's what working with the subconscious mind does. If your answer is different, I would love to hear it. In fact, I love everyone's opinions, even if it differs from mine, because that is what makes the universe go round. If you would like to buy Gregg Braden's book, I will leave the link in the description box below. And if you would like an energy healing session, visit sallyknott.com. The link is also in the description box. I hope you had fun with this video, and I look forward to bringing you more information on some different woo stuff. So hope you subscribe. Thank you for watching.